At exactly 7:59 a.m., I was called into the office of my boss, who also happened to be my former college roommate. His face was calm, almost rehearsed, as he told me the company no longer needed me. The words felt like a punch in the gut, especially since I had been the one who helped him turn his garage project into a multi-million-dollar company. I barely had time to process the humiliation before I was escorted out with a box of my belongings. As I walked through the glass doors, a mix of anger and disbelief burned inside me. This wasn't just a job, this was my creation too. I was the one who had stayed up nights writing code, building systems, and sketching out strategies while he chased investors. Without me, there wouldn't have even been a company to fire me from. My phone buzzed as I sat in my car in the parking lot. It was a reminder I had set years ago, a reminder about the Founders Clause. Back when we incorporated the company, I had insisted on a protective clause buried deep in the contracts. It gave me rights as a co-founder that most people wouldn't notice unless they read carefully. And now, the betrayal gave me the perfect reason to use it. By 8:15 a.m., I was in a coffee shop, laptop open, hands trembling but focused. The Founders Clause granted me a special trigger. If I was ever terminated without cause, I had the right to call for a reassessment of control. It was a legal booby trap, one I never thought I'd need, but always kept in my back pocket. I opened my email and began drafting the notice. It wasn't just words, it was fire wrapped in legal steel. The clause allowed me to summon the board and present my case, and until then, my shares couldn't be diluted or transferred. My ex-roommate thought he could toss me aside like an old tool. He had no idea I was about to pull the rug out from under him. By 8:30 a.m., I had reached out to our legal counsel, the very one who had helped draft the clause. He remembered it well. His voice over the phone carried a hint of excitement, almost admiration, when he told me, "This clause could turn the whole company upside down in your favor." That was all the confirmation I needed. At 8:45 a.m., I sent the email. It was addressed to the board, the lawyers, and my ex-friend. In bold letters, the subject line read, "Activation of Founders Clause, immediate effect." My heart raced as I hit send. With that, I had triggered a storm he couldn't stop. By 9 a.m., my phone rang again. This time, it was the chairman of the board. His voice was sharp, demanding clarity. I explained the clause, word for word, reminding him that this was signed and sealed at the very birth of the company. Silence followed. He knew it was ironclad. What my ex-friend thought was a clean firing had just become a corporate earthquake. I could almost imagine his face when he read the email. The smugness would have drained away, replaced by panic. He had underestimated me, forgotten that I wasn't just an employee. I was a founder, and founders don't just walk away quietly. By late morning, I was sitting in a conference room, this time not as an outsider, but as someone holding the cards. The board convened an emergency meeting. My ex-friend tried to dismiss my claims, but every lawyer in the room confirmed the clause was valid. The board had no choice but to hear me out. I laid out my case, not just legally but morally. I reminded them of the nights I slept in the office, the code I wrote line by line, the investors I convinced when he was nowhere to be found. I didn't beg for my job back, I demanded what was rightfully mine, my share of control. The board deliberated for hours, and by the afternoon, the verdict was clear. My co-founder had lost credibility. His rash decision had not only jeopardized the company but also revealed his arrogance. The board voted to strip him of his CEO title and reinstate me, not as an employee, but as a board member with decision-making power. Walking out of that building later that day, I felt a strange calm. It wasn't about revenge anymore, it was about justice. He had tried to erase me, but instead, he had written my name back into the company in permanent ink. That night, I sat at home, looking over the city lights from my balcony. I thought about how quickly life could turn. At 7:59 a.m., I had been fired. By 9 a.m., I had reclaimed my power. And in the end, it wasn't just a story of betrayal, it was a reminder that when you build something with your blood and sweat, no one can take it from you so easily. I smiled, knowing tomorrow would be a different battle, but this time, I wouldn't be the one caught off guard. This time, I was ready.